The lecture hall fell silent as Professor Zeleth's crystalline form shimmered with anticipation. The Xenobiology Advanced Studies class had been eagerly awaiting this day, their first encounter with a specimen from the infamous death world known as Earth. Kira 9, a young Altarian with iridescent blue skin, adjusted her recording equipment nervously. Her species had evolved on peaceful garden worlds where the most dangerous creature was a fruit-eating flutterwing. The thought of meeting someone from a planet where everything actively tried to kill you sent shivers through her delicate frame. "Students," Professor Zeleth announced, her voice resonating through the translator matrix. "Today we welcome Marcus Chen, a hunter from Earth. He has graciously agreed to demonstrate the predatory capabilities that evolution has bestowed upon his species." The door hissed open, and Marcus walked in. He was ordinary. Average height for a human, wearing simple clothing with kind brown eyes and a gentle smile. Disappointed murmurs rippled through the assembled students. This was the feared apex predator they'd heard whispered about in hushed tones across the galaxy. Vex, a hulking Chronari warrior student, chittered with amusement. "This soft creature is supposed to be dangerous? My people conquered 17 star systems before we learned to walk upright." Marcus nodded politely toward the class. "Thank you for having me. I thought I'd start with a simple demonstration of human tracking abilities." He gestured to Professor Zeleth. "If you could have someone hide somewhere in the university complex, I'll show you how humans hunt." 20 minutes later, they stood in the vast underground maintenance tunnels beneath the university. Trenka, a Voltharian exchange student known for his stealth capabilities, had hidden somewhere in the labyrinthine network that stretched for kilometers in every direction. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Morth, the crystalline head of security. "Even our most advanced sensors struggle in these tunnels due to the interference from the quantum generators." Marcus knelt at the tunnel entrance, running his fingers along the floor. Trenka weighs approximately 280 pounds and has a slight limp in his left rear appendage, probably an old injury. He's nervous, which means his pheromone output is elevated. The students exchanged glances. How could he possibly know these things? Marcus stood and began walking down the left corridor. He went this way. The dust pattern shows recent disturbance, and there's a faint scent trail. He paused, nostrils flaring slightly. He's been eating Krellian spice pods recently. The metabolic byproducts are quite distinctive. As they followed Marcus deeper into the tunnel system, Kira 9 began to understand something that chilled her to her core. This wasn't just tracking, this was inevitability. Marcus moved with purpose, never hesitating, never doubling back. He pointed out sign after sign that the others couldn't see. A barely perceptible scuff mark on the wall where Trenka had briefly lost his balance. Microscopic fabric fibers caught on a protruding pipe. Even the direction of air currents that carried scent molecules. "Your species does this." "Naturally?" Professor Zeleth inquired, her academic curiosity overcoming her growing unease. "Persistence hunting is how we survived," Marcus explained conversationally as they walked. "We're not the fastest or strongest, but we don't give up. Ever. Our ancestors would chase prey for days across the African savanna until it collapsed from exhaustion." Vex, the Chronari warrior, had grown quiet. His species were ambush predators relying on brief explosive violence. The concept of an enemy that would never stop, never tire, never abandon the hunt. It was genuinely terrifying. After 37 minutes of walking through seemingly identical tunnels, Marcus stopped at an intersection. "He's about 60 meters that way," he said, pointing down a side passage. "He's been stationary for the last 8 minutes, probably thinking he's found a good hiding spot." They found Trenka exactly where Marcus had indicated, pressed against the wall in what he had thought was perfect concealment. The Voltharian's eye stalks drooped in defeat. "How?" he asked simply. Marcus smiled that same gentle smile. "Your species evolved as prey animals. You're very good at hiding, but you still think like prey. You found a spot where you felt safe and stayed there. Predators don't feel safe, we feel hungry." The return journey to the classroom was subdued. As they settled back into their seats, Professor Zeleth addressed the human. "Marcus, would you care to explain why your species developed such comprehensive hunting abilities?" Marcus's expression grew serious. "Earth isn't just dangerous because of the predators, Professor. It's dangerous because everything is trying to survive, and survival requires constant adaptation. Our planet has ice ages that last millennia. Supervolcanoes that block out the sun, asteroid impacts, magnetic pole reversals, and through it all, life persists. We learned to hunt not just animals but solutions. We became predators of problems themselves. Kira 9 raised a tentative hand. But your species has moved beyond hunting for survival, haven't you? You have technology, civilization. Marcus nodded. We have, but the instincts remain. When humans encountered the first alien species, do you know what we did? We studied them. We learned their weaknesses, their strengths, their patterns of behavior. Not out of malice, but because that's how we're wired. We turned our hunting instincts toward understanding the universe itself. The room was completely silent now. Every human ship that explores the galaxy, every scientist who studies alien life, every diplomat who negotiates with other species, they're all hunters in their own way. We pursue knowledge with the same relentless determination our ancestors used to chase mammoth across the tundra. Vex spoke up, his voice subdued. And if humans decided that another species was prey? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then that species would have a choice, adapt or become extinct. But here's the thing about humans. We prefer cooperation to competition. We learned long ago that the most dangerous prey is the kind that fights back effectively. We'd rather have allies than enemies. As the class ended and students filed out, Kira 9 lingered. Marcus, she said softly, are humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy? Marcus considered the question carefully. No, he said finally, but we might be the most persistent. And in the long run, persistence tends to outlast danger. As Kira 9 walked back to her dormitory, she realized that Marcus had just demonstrated something far more unsettling than physical prowess. He had shown them how humans hunted minds, how they tracked thoughts and predicted behavior. The human hadn't just found Trenka in the tunnels. He had found weaknesses in every species represented in that classroom. And he had done it all with that gentle, unassuming smile. The truly terrifying thing about humans, she realized, wasn't their capacity for violence. It was their capacity to understand you completely before you even realized you were being studied. They were hunters who had turned the entire universe into their hunting ground. That night, as Kira 9 fell asleep, she couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere out there, humanity was still hunting, pursuing some vast, incomprehensible prey across the stars with the same patient determination that had once driven them across the plains of their distant home world. And she hoped desperately that her species would always remain their allies.